usual. At least I try to be. How's everybody doing? You guys are all doing well. John left me on his headphones next to the mic. He's going to get a coffee right now. He's going to be back with us in just a minute. Today, I'm going to continue the conversation. You guys have been asking some really good questions, and I've been kind of, doing my best to address those as best I can, and also help you guys just kind of understand my workflow and how I go about making things. It's just going to be an ongoing, continual conversation, so it's going to be pretty much never ending as we go into this, but I'm also bringing in some interesting things from past career elements and other things. So today I want to kind of talk a little bit more about just some of the stuff that I do in Illustrator that might be a little bit unique and different. These are some of the things that I teach in my other class, my data design class. So let me just grab one of these things. This file is really big, so it's like super chunky. I'm gonna grab this, for example. I'm gonna bring it into our working file. And for those of you who don't know, I'm in Adobe Illustrator. If you're just now joining us, what's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing good. These are a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun at these. Like, making classes alone is fun, kind of, but it's doing this and having you guys here and having active feedback. I think it's definitely something that we all really enjoy and are trying to make consistently happen. So welcome aboard. And then John's back now too.
Yeah. What's up, guys?
Sorry, go ahead. John and I were talking about his diet. He's doing veganism for a year, right? A full year?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It started off with like a month and then 2 months, and then I just decided to go a full year.
Yeah.
Just to test my body.
Yeah, and we were just talking about, like, I tried to do, I think everything in moderation, even moderation. That's like a quote that I got from Joe Rogan, which I think is pretty brilliant. But I think for me, I try to just be aware of meat consumption, because, man, it's just so bad for the freaking planet. Mm-hmm. Too much of it's bad. It's like anything, though. But my family and I try to do, like, we eat meat maybe like, I try to personally remove meat from my diet for like 2 to 3 days out of the week, and just like be vegetable guy for the day. Mm-hmm. So, and man, like tofu and all that stuff. I love that stuff, but I grew up with that stuff, so I can see it.
It's cool because my girlfriend's like mastering how to cook tofu now. And, like, she's really inspired to, figure out how to make good food with no meat and stuff. And it's really just like the sauces, the seasonings, and that's what makes up good food. Texture is a whole different story, but it's been fun. It's given me a whole different respect for life in general.
Yeah, all the animals and stuff. Like, there seems to be a pretty good awareness of people, I think, nowadays with food, and being aware of like what they're putting in their body, and just being aware of that in a good space. But I also just I can't stand when people go left wing or right wing too much. The best advice comes from people that are doctors that have a good understanding of what it is, how your body actually functions and works. And it's like, how do you get your information?
I got a lot of stuff from a bunch of links that AJ showed me, and then my brother. I have a bunch of different
your brother's
articles
doing it too?
And stuff. He started, but he gave up. He's the one who sent me about all that information about why we need meat and stuff. And so it's just a battle. I'm just ultimately doing my own tests and seeing how my body feels, and I guess that's really ultimately what can decide on what is good. Even a year, I feel like a year isn't enough at the same degree. How our bodies grow and all that. Like, it takes a long time to get where we are.
So we're a design of time and evolution, and what we've done and how we've eaten thus far. There is, your brain needs a certain amount of fat. Your brain functions on fat, really, and it's a massive energy suck in your body. And if you're not feeding it that natural fat to give those, give it what it needs, you're just going to be a brain dead dummy, Do you think with you're doing the veganism, do you feel more sexy? I feel like
Say
a
that again.
sweet
What?
ass like zucchini. You know, you're like, fuck, I feel good. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I do. I mean, like it also goes back to like exercising, regularly, and
that's good.
just all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I respect everybody's decisions, but
Yeah, you've been
I
really cool about it.
try to stay neutral to everything, and then just do my own tests and keep my own mentality. Listen, learn.
Smart,
But
smart man. Meanwhile, I'm like telling people, shut up, do this. No, I'm joking. That's awesome. Yeah, I think being connected to your body is really great. I think that's why I do jujitsu. I think jujitsu is so good. You guys are
oh
probably
hell yeah.
like, sign in and going like, why are they talking about this stuff? I think it's all connected. Health and body and how well you take care of your body and what you do and exercise and stuff. For people like ourselves who are just sitting around all day, doing, computer work shit, it's so
Hmm.
bad for your body. It's atrophy. And if you're not careful, it can lead to like some serious cancer like health effects and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, we're all gonna die. I guess it's more or less like how you want to go out and stuff. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
I love that feeling when you're just like cranking away. Your body feels tired, but you're feeling alive.
Hmm.
I have a rowing machine at my house, in my house. So thankful. And because
Nice.
I hate the gym, freaking hate it. People trip me out. They weird me out, dude. The gym people freak me out. Like they're so weird. And they're just
Yeah.
like
I
selfie nation in there, man. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Phone faces
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I pretty much lived because like I lived in my car for like 2 years to be honest,
it's
and
crazy.
I took showers at the gym for that time. I was just like I got used to just going in, taking a shower,
Just
and
seeing a
then
bunch of
just
man dick
leaving.
everywhere.
Yeah, but I got used to that. Yeah, I mean I see nudity every day now, or I saw, but yeah, it wasn't a big deal after all. But yeah, gyms are weird. I know a lot of
Yeah.
weird people go there. But yeah, I get what you're saying about like just you're in that mode, going running or exercising, and you're just like yeah, especially when you listen to some good music,
Yeah. You just
really
feel super
empowering
good.
music.
Well,
Hmm.
yeah, in the house I have it. We have like a room where we have like an elliptical machine and then the rowing machine. But when I go and I hit the rowing machine super hard, like just my heart's freaking racing. I have a pedometer thing on my
That's
because I
cool.
love data and nerd shit. But after like I do like a 100 meter or I mean a 10,000 or 5,000 meters or whatever, it's like 22 minutes or 40 minutes of just consistent regimented like rowing. Man, it just gets man. I don't know. It's after that, I'm just dripping in sweat, and I feel like while I'm doing it, I'm like, I hate this. This sucks. And my brain's like, come on, let's go get out of here. Let's go do some design or something. Like, fuck this thing. But once I overcome it, it's awesome and it feels
Yeah,
strong
man.
and stuff. I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I like going running. It's really
oh
cool,
yeah, I can't do
especially
that.
like outside, just because like it's cool because you're inspiring other people, as you're running.
Yeah,
Just like in a shitty town, like where I'm from, Barstow, I used to just see the same guy going running every day. And, I was just like, yeah, it's the same guy, same time,
hmm.
And then he inspired me to run too, because, just like he's getting up at the same time, keeping motivated and just, like, but the way it branched off, I was just like, whoa, this guy was inspiring me,
That's awesome.
I didn't even know it. So like when you're going outside running, somebody's also like thinking, I need to exercise as well. I need to start getting into these things,
Yeah,
and start taking care of my body. And yeah, you don't even know it. Sometimes you're just like you're an inspiration to people by
yeah,
seeing that. I
yeah.
think
It's
that's why
true.
there's like marathons and stuff. It's
Yeah, of
always
course, it's conducive.
like awareness and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And I think it just
dope.
makes, I think it makes for people to just, try different things like you're saying, or like step outside their comfort zone and stuff. So, which is
Yeah.
cool. But, yeah, that's awesome. So sorry we're talking. I mean, I'm not sorry. We're talking about cool stuff here. So, and this is Twitch. This is live streaming. So, but yeah, I mean, it's also really important. Like aside from the technicalities of doing this kind of work, I work from home, and I don't like to leave the house when I need to work and get a lot of work done. And I work long days, and so I have the workout room in the house. Thankfully, I work really fucking hard, and I've been working hard for a long time. My wife and I are very cautious about how we save and use our money, and so we use it for the right reasons, basically. And so we set up a good life for ourselves, and that's what we have in the house. It's really cool. But yeah, I can't run. My knees are messed up I used to ride BMX a lot when I was a kid. I'm just doing stupid shit like jumping off stairs and just dumb stuff. My knees are messed up. So yeah. But yeah.
I used to skate, but I never got into BMXing.
Yeah, you were either one or the other. That's what it seemed like. You were either like biking sucks or like skating's lame. It's like the clubs, I guess. I don't know what it was, but I could never skate because it was just like there's something about skateboarding I just can't get. I don't understand it. It's really hard for me to do. I can't do it. Can't do it, Daddy.
Somebody's asking about your age timer on your browser.
Oh yeah.
Where do you find that?
Yeah, this thing right here. I think Andrew's the one that showed it to me, actually. Yeah. Fuck, what is it called? Let me look at it. Let me see if I can find.
He sent me the link too, but I'll look for it. You keep working.
It's like if you look at Chrome age timer plugin, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what those things are called. It goes on the page.
Mm-hmm. I think I found it.
What's it called?
The motivational thing. It's called. Here, I'll send the link.
Is this it? Not motivation. It's like a plugin that you plug in. Yeah, this is it. Motivation. There it is. Yeah, you got it right. You're right. Yeah, there you put it in there. Okay, there you go, guys. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I had a client call the other day, and I was showing him something on the web browser, and he saw this. He was like, "What is that?" And he was like, "That's so gross." And but he loved it though. He thought that was great, and he didn't realize how young I was in comparison to him. So it was really cool. We were laughing. So yeah, I love it. I love honestly just knowing it's just information. So
how old are you, Ash?
I'm 33. 33? Yeah, 33. So I got a lot of stuff I want to do before I hit 40. I guess just less than 7 years. So I got a lot of things. I think I could do it. I think I could do all those things, make a movie and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, soon enough. So
fuck yeah.
Yeah, making Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for around 25. So yeah.
No.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna put glasses on Raphael. It's gonna be great. Okay. So let's we'll jump around. We'll talk about some other things, but I'll also talk about this stuff too. The other thing I love about these Twitch streams too is like they're informational. You get to know a little bit more about me, about John, Mache, Andrew, any of our future teachers and all that kind of stuff. And it's a way for us to kind of have a class together, but be very open and free, kind of like the Collective Podcast, but it's much more dynamic with this. So because you guys can see my screen. Yeah, Vitaly was talking about that too. Sorry, I'm looking at the comments too, and so what I'm doing right now is one thing if I would urge you to try out. It's a lot of fun, and the reason why I do this is because I like to sometimes let the computer make some art for me, and this is like a very, very simple form of generative art. And what I'll do is I'll just like make a general shape using my grid. If you remember, like by making. Last time we have a grid and it's snapping to the grid, so I can make cubes and everything is in the same world space language. So like this is one of our units, and then this would be like if I wanted to make another cube. So cancel, stop it, and then I would make another one right here. Hold Shift and make a perfect cube, and I could just like duplicate this over and shift this over here and just start to kind of. I'll let the grid kind of work for me too. This right here, and eventually I'll make something that I can then make a brush out of. And then what I'll do is I'll make another brush. And let me just walk you through it. I was doing it while we were talking about veganism and being sexy like a cucumber. I forget that thing that was the subject we were talking about. But yeah, so eventually, so what I'll do is I'll grab this, right? So I'll grab this asset, and I'll go into this little brush icon thing, And the reason, again, why I do this is because I want to let the computer kind of make art for me. And this is generative art, again, but on a very, very, very simple form. It's not like Houdini where you throw a bunch of math at it and then it kind of calculates some weird shit and comes back to you. So I will grab my asset and I'll go into new brush right here. And in here, there's a bunch of different settings you can do. Usually what I do is I either use the pattern brush or the art brush. These are the two settings I do, and I believe with the pattern brush, this is it. So I'll say pattern brush. You can go back here and play with these settings and flip it along the axis and all that kind of stuff, like I'm doing here. Or you can stretch to fit, all that kind of stuff. And I said, okay. Let's see. I'm getting a little bit of an echo, John. I'm not sure if I'm like loud on your mic or something.
I'll mute when I'm not talking. See if
okay. Actually, it's okay. I don't hear myself now, but I think you just muted. So, all right. So here is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab. So I already just made the brush. Okay. So went in here, made the brush, and we can see the brush right here. I've already made it, so there's a duplicate of it. This is my brush kind of palette panel kind of thing. So you can stretch this out and look at it. So what I do is I make a generative shape like a square, and I will go up here and I'll grab the brush. I'll go okay, and now let me just size this up a little bit. So I'll adjust this a little bit and see now what it's doing is it's creating new shapes out of the last one. And then I could maybe bring this down a little bit. Now it's creating some interesting stuff. It's replicating some interesting things that are happening. So then I'll take this and I will just delete that. And so I'll make another shape. I'll make a couple of them. And like this is a square, so I just duplicated the square. And like if I wanted to make another really complex thing, the reason why I do this is because it allows you to like make really quick complexities. So you can like play with making interesting details without having to spend the time to like hand create all this stuff. And you can instantly have some really cool feedback and details and stuff that you can then make more complicated shapes and stuff out of. So what I did from here, so we look at it, and I'm gonna hit Command Y to just kind of see the data. See, all this is data that's in here, but if I hit Command Y, I can see through the lines and I can see through the brush. And then I go here. And so I took this and I duplicated it. I took this asset right here, I selected it, I held Option and Shift, and I just, grabbed it. And hey, stop it. It's making me look like a liar. Damn you.
Somebody asked,
there it is.
What's your least favorite part about UI design?
My least favorite part about UI design? I like it all, really. I mean, it sounds, I do enjoy it. I think the least favorite part about it for me personally in my career is I just become kind of pigeonholed and stuff. So I'm always trying to push the boundaries and stuff. And I'm working on a couple projects right now for some films that I'm having a lot of fun with breaking barriers and stuff. So, but I think it's, it all pertains to the job really, but I think it's all in your outlook, for a quick example, if somebody has a really great outlook, I had Anthony, aka Stylo, on as my mentor or my apprentice on my UI and data design class, and he had just this really positive outlook on everything and really embraced everything, and he just utilized that to really accelerate his ability to learn. And I think that's an important attribute to have. I'm not trying to sidetrack, but I think it's important to be open to the idea of like learning and growing and constantly learning and growing. So I don't know if I necessarily have a thing I don't really like about it, other than sometimes I just don't want to do it for work. But that's just that's because I guess I do a decent job at it, so people continue to bring me on board and stuff. So yeah. We answer
cool.
That. Yeah.
Somebody asked, do you ever get tangled up in the snapping by zooming in or out, or adjusting your grid in increments midway through? It's driving me nuts, and it's hard to reset back to normal.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. What you have to do is like, you got to think of your grid as like your world space, right? And the moment that you change your grid, you're pretty much screwed unless you make it in divisible increments, So let's look at this, for example. Let's just use this as an example. So I'll grab this and I'll make this an X. Shift X, and where's my stroke thing at? I'll put this inside so we can see the outside shape. And let me drop this down a little bit so we can just see what we're gonna go through. Yeah, it drives me nuts. And I hate it when I'm here and it makes me select on this thing. And also like the new Adobe has like this soft edge thing, which is cool, but it drives me nuts when I'm trying to grab things and from here or further away. It will make me do like weird things, or it won't line up on the grid. It'll make it halfway. So I know exactly what you're talking about. What you have to do is just make sure that you're viewing what you're trying to work on very closely or whatever, and you just have to, zoom in and out basically by hitting Command space bar or Command plus and minus. So like if I go into my preferences, guides and grids, and there's a grid line every 12 points and the division of 4, let's divide it by 8 and see what happens. So what that does is it doubles the resolution basically. So I can do this, you can see. And so if I go into my grids and guides, if I dropped it down to 12, that'd be 3 times the resolution. Then you have these weird things that happen where this one now doesn't line up really, because you couldn't really recreate that size anymore. So maybe change it. You just have to be cautious of the math that you're putting into it. Maybe make it to 16. Let's see if it'll do it. Preference guides, 16 points, okay. Yeah, it's not activating, it's not changing. I think because it's more than the actual grid itself. So if this, I don't want to mess this up, so let me just remember what it was. 12 and 4. Okay, I think it was 12 and 4. So if I were to go and change it, you just have to be cautious of the math that you're doing and make sure you go back if you need to. And then all these things are, these things kind of divide into themselves, so just be cautious of the math that you're creating. Because everything, the world space all goes here, and like the way that you interact with it. So I wouldn't put like, just randomly put like, like 55 or something weird. You're going to get some weird ass stuff and it's never going to line up. You're going to have some kind of, see how like my grid is completely off the line. So you just got to be really cautious of how you set it up. And if you're going to ask for more resolution, just make sure that you're doing it in the right math so that it's divisible into itself, if that makes sense. To be aware that I'm not a mathematician, so.
Yeah, you're a genius. That's so simple, but I never thought of that.
Oh yeah, cool. Well, I'm glad I could help you. So I'm definitely not a genius, but so that's the thing I would do if you want to. So I think what you're talking about is if you're in a situation where you're making something and you're like, it's not, I want it to be more refined and I want more grid space to work with. You just go into your preferences and then, adjust the subdivision down to double the resolution basically. It's like taking a 150 pixel screen and then turning it to 300. What you're doing is you're allowing yourself to be able to see more information. So hopefully that helps. And usually always keep in mind your world space. So like if I'm in here, this is 100%. And when you're at 100% here, if I look really closely, I can't really see I think this is the max of the resolution. No, it goes even further. Yeah, so if I'm going in, if I zoom out, I think it would be really hard for me to make a cube unless I could see this grid, and that's at 400%. So even at the grid I have now, which is 8, I'll put that to 4. I think I had it at 4 because from 1 or 200%, usually I don't like it. I don't want to disappear my grid. Right now you see how like the grid disappeared, the other resolution I was working at. I like to keep it at about 200% because when I bring it back into another file or something or a folder, like when I go and do like really complicated stuff in here, I like to be able to change and adjust that world space, if that makes sense. It's kind of weird, complicated stuff, but yeah.
Cool. Yeah, somebody gave a good tip. He said for that is always to make the grid in multiples of 8,
Yeah.
since that's what actual pixels are based on.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah. So you can do 8. I think I have it at 4. So yeah, I mean, I'm doing half of it, but yeah, pixels and all that stuff. I think it's okay. For me, from what I've understood, it's okay to use whatever the hell you want. You can do whatever you want, honestly, but to save yourself the headache, just make sure that those things are divisible into themselves. So 8, 16, 32. Yeah. Mathematician. Yeah. My spelling's just as good as that too, and my handwriting. Good thing I do art for a living. Finger painting, my friends call it. So yeah, what I'm doing now is I'll generate like a shape or something interesting, like right here, and then what I'll do is um, I will grab the shape. So if I grab this one right here, I'm just give you an example. I'll go into Object, Expand Appearance, and what that does is it doesn't make it a path anymore, because if you don't do that, if I'm like, oh, this is cool, and then I want to size it up a little bit, see what it's doing is it's an active path still, so it's constantly changing. But when I go into Object, Expand Appearance, now it's kind of like a locked image. See that? So you can change it, but it doesn't change. Like let's put them side by side so you can see them. Bam. See the difference that's happening. Madness, I tell you. Okay, so yeah, there's that. And so when I grab that, I go and make like another shape and start to build that. Then I flatten it out, and then I go and grab some other assets. And then before you know it, I have something quite interesting that we can work with. And let me just kind of grab this and show you kind of how I go and take this into Photoshop. I work in a really weird way, and I think that this is just the way that I've designed how I work, and how I design things and stuff. So you might have a different pattern or a path. I don't think that I use these programs, especially like Adobe Illustrator. I've been using it for a long time. I know some of this stuff, but I don't really. Adobe's constantly changing this stuff, and they're constantly adding new attributes and stuff to this, and there's people who are doing really awesome work in here, but I really, because it works and the things that I need it for, I don't really trip out too much. And there's a lot of really fun things you can do. The thing that I think that got me really into Cinema 4D in the beginning is that you could take this stuff directly from Cinema and from Illustrator and bring it into Cinema and do all kinds of fun like extrusions and all that kind of stuff. And then you can make some really crazy like just explorations and stuff like I don't know if this isn't from that. Let me see if I can show you an example of some stuff I was playing with yesterday. This isn't from there, but this is like fun, just like playing with some ideas that I'm learning from somebody right now. I'm really excited about, but this is more just like more the other stuff. So somebody asked me about doing everydays, and this is what I'm talking about. I do a lot of this kind of stuff just on my own time, which is very few and far between. Like on a lunch break, I'll try to play with something or learn something new and try it. And yeah, some crazy stuff is about to come in, guys. I'm super excited. So
This next question says,
no more questions. I'm just joking. Go ahead.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Ash, I was having a hard time with figuring out how ebook Lee did his ebook. Lee did his piece on Facebook. It seems that he was using displacement instead of bump maps. Any idea?
I need to see the piece. Can you give me a link or put it in the chat or something, and I could show you how I would possibly approach it?
I'll ask him.
Cool. And John, you can post it to me in the chat and Google Chats if you want.
Yeah.
In the chats.
What are you reading these days?
What am I reading right now?
Yeah.
Man, I have this book, Tchaikovsky, Film Through Time or something. Let me see if I can find the Tchaikovsky book. He's got a lot of books too, by the way. Tchaikovsky. Trying to. I should know the name. I'm reading the freaking book, but I'm also going through. I'm doing The Stand right now on Audible, so I walk my dog at night, and that's usually when I go into I go and listen to my audiobooks and stuff, and I listen to creepy Stephen King while I walk in the park in the dark. Creepy shit. Where the hell is it? I can't find the book. I'll remember it. It's upstairs, but I'm reading it very slowly. It's got some really cool stuff. David O'Reilly suggested I check it out, and it's really interesting, just his approach to things. So yeah, can't find it. It's not in Amazon. It must be. I know. Maybe I'll just look in my orders, try and see if I can find it. Did you get that link to Hebox piece?
He hasn't posted it yet.
Okay. Yeah, if you get it, you can show it to me. And I don't know. I can ask Hebok, but I can just give a guesstimate as to what I think it might be. Okay, here it is. Sculpting in Time. That's what it's called. Okay, let me give you a link, John. Then you can share it with them.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. Here you go, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm reading that book right now. It's really interesting. Yeah. John just posted it, so if you're interested, you could check that out. If you're interested in film and film done through the eyes of a very unique, creative, some would consider to be a master. So, yeah. What do you think? I don't think there's such thing as a master, really. There's no, in art, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know. Probably when they're like 100 years old and they've got all of. I don't know. I can't answer that.
I think a kid could be. Yeah, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
I don't think age has that much to do with it. I guess it depends on goals, but I don't think anybody's the master of it. That's what's so cool. You can never be the master. Master. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna grab all this stuff right now. So when you get me the everybody says Da Vinci's the master, and I would say I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think he would even consider himself to be a master. I think he's a very unique human being, and I think that what he did was just incredible. I'm not trying to take anything from him, but I don't think anybody is ever the master, will ever be, because the moment that you do that, like, you just, like, does Da Vinci, does he know Houdini? You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't know Cinema 4D. There's no way he could, because he's not around anymore, and therefore he can't be the master, because people are making things exponentially through time, and it's all shifting, and the priorities and what people create value from, and some people would consider is what he does great, and then people consider, like, Andy Warhol. That's what's so interesting. It's so freaking subjective, so Da Vinci, like, again, I'm just saying, I'm a huge Da Vinci fan. I admire the shit out of that guy, because he is just incredibly unique, and he did go the distance. And I mean, there's so many things that he did, but I think the thing that people overlook a lot is he was just a very, very curious human being. That's it. Like, he's very, very curious, and then he kind of, like, led his life around his curiosity and built that up. From what I understand, again, I don't know him, never met him personally. It would be cool to meet him. I wonder how weird he would be. He'd probably be weird as fuck.
Yeah, especially in these times.
Yeah, well, of course now, like, we'd be like, I'd put him on YouTube and just let him trip out. I often think about, like, what if, Stanley Kubrick had YouTube, like, whoa, that would be so trippy, so his brain would probably explode. So, yeah. Okay. So, when I talk about my work and I show it and I discuss it, the biggest quote that I use, and I found it just kind of came naturally as I discovered it, is complexity is many simple things combined. So I think when I just dissect my work, when I'm explaining it and teaching it, my work is all about having complexity and layers, basically. And so you should probably think about it the same way if you're aiming to have something that has complexity and certain uniqueness to it. And again, we're talking about, this isn't necessarily UI stuff. It can be, depending on whatever the project is. And this is kind of stuff that I was doing with the data design class. But when it comes to actual HUDs and graphic user interfaces, this could definitely be something that's like that. It's a stylized version of it, so you can probably get into that. So, but let me just kind of remove some of these things and show you why. Let me just grab this and drop this in as a smart object. and show you kind of how I would go crazy and make something, and it just gets super layered and super crazy. And I think this is what a lot of people are like. I think this is what it is that people are appealed to in my work, and I'm not sure, obviously, but I think this is it. Um, I mean, because for me personally, I just make the work that I like. I'm not. Whatever work makes sense to me is usually what I end up making. So let me just kind of break down this Photoshop file. It's quite simple, but what I do is I do a decent amount of work and time in Adobe Illustrator generating a bunch of my assets. So I'll go in here and, in all those different steps that I've showed, like, it's from a sketch to isolating that sketch and then regenerating it in a program like Adobe Illustrator, which is vector and it's very precise and does a lot of the heavy lifting for us. I don't have to use a ruler and all that kind of stuff to make things concise. It snaps to the grid. It's doing a lot of work for us. And then I'll make some generative stuff. What's that?
Sorry, I got the link.
For the Hebok thing?
Yeah.
Did you send it in the? Okay, let me see. Let me see this. I want to get Hebok on here too. Okay, yeah. This is exactly what this is what I'm teaching. Yeah, see, there it is. I didn't even know he was taking my class too. So this is kind of complex to kind of explain. I don't know why it's not working. This is like, it's coming from your mobile or something. But yeah, this I teach this exact thing, how to make this in the UI and data design. Not this exact thing, because this is his design and Hebok is a boss, but what he did basically was take this kind of stuff and take a shit ton of it, kind of like we're getting into something like this kind of stuff, heavy detail, and then extruded it, made it volumetric, and then he used, I believe he's using Octane and Cinema 4D. He's an old-time cinema guy, so, and then he went in there and lit it and made it and extruded it and did all kinds of stuff to it. So I will probably end up showing us that kind of stuff soon enough, I think. This is some stuff I've been playing with the other day, just having fun. I was revisiting some older designs of mine and just using the camera and Octane and having a lot of fun taking photos with a very shallow depth and getting these really interesting anomalies that were happening. It's a lot of fun. And that's because of the machine that I have. I'm able to do all this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, it's just trippy, it just makes me so happy to be able to just take photos of my work and see it in a completely different light. It's really quite liberating. So if you go in here, and a lot of this stuff is all similar. It's all very similar. I mean, you have to have a design sense. You have to have an understanding of how how design works and flow and balance and light and shadow and color and all that stuff. The fundamentals are there. I'm not trying to take that away, but yeah, I think it's been a lot of fun being able to see this. And again, like revisiting these things, I could have just taken photos of these, the other one, like this stuff, and I'll probably end up doing that too. It's just because it's so much fun. So let's see, so that, but yeah, this is kind of the same kind of process, just taking things, putting them into 3D and then taking photos, and I can show that stuff later on. But if you're interested, definitely check out the UI and data design class, because I go into it much further than I will here, and it'll help you really understand how I approach that kind of stuff. So yeah, so cool. This reminded me of like, John, you ever seen those, like the monks in Tibet where they make those drawings with the powder?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
those are great.
Those are so
those
cool.
Are beautiful.
Yeah, there's Samsara has, like, you ever seen Samsara, the film?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Oh man, you haven't seen that? Stunning.
Samsara?
Yeah, Samsara, Samsara, or you can also Baraka and then Kiana Scotzi. They're all like kind of similar, from the similar people, but they're there's no like dialogue or anything. It's just this beautiful visceral experience through just art, and just incredible. It's hard to explain.
Awesome. Check those out.
Yeah. What's cool about this stuff too, guys, is like when you have a good computer and a good rig and everything's set up, like you can do, when I'll show you, I'll probably do like a live stream from my PC sometime, have to make sure, John will have to make sure everything's set up good for that. But what you can do is you can, these renders come out like, I don't know, it takes like, 45 seconds or something. Right now I have 3 Titan X's in my one machine, and I just got another machine that I'm putting on my 3 980 Ti's. That's going to be my slave machine, because I'm about to get some serious madness. So, because I need that power and stuff to pull off the stuff that I'm wanting to do. So, okay, so I digress. Any questions right now?
Yeah, another person asked, do you have any favorite plugins in either Illustrator or After Effects he keeps using, or you keep using over and over again?
I never used plugins ever. Never. I don't know. Yeah, I never used plugins. I think, I don't know. I'll tell you why, and maybe you would agree or not. I just don't care for them. I don't know. Like there are some. Actually, I'm completely wrong. I do use plugins in Cinema 4D. I use Octane and I use X Particles. Both are freaking awesome. I love the hell out of both of those things, and they're very necessary in my flow. So the 1080 is not supported yet, as I know. That's one thing that drives me nuts about Octane and Otoy. It's like this big giant tease, and I was so pissed because the 1080s came out right after I'd spent all this money on the 980s and the Titan X's. But whatever, it's okay. It doesn't matter. I'll still hold up. My buddy Raul, he has like 780s. That's what he uses, like a couple of 780s or something. And he's like probably one of the best out there. So again, it's not about the hardware. I mean, sometimes it helps, but in regards to plugins for Photoshop, I don't use any plugins. For Adobe Illustrator, I don't use any plugins. For After Effects, I don't use After Effects all that much. There are some really like Blackmagic makes some epic stuff. Magic Looks, I think, is one of the things. There's RealFlow, I think it also has something that goes in there. So there are some, but I don't use a lot of plugins, to be completely honest. There are some really great ones. I'm not trying to say I don't think they're good. I just don't use them. So yeah, but that's it. No real plugins except X Particles and Octane mostly, and that's in Cinema 4D. So okay.
Next question says,
Sure.
Are the Gits 2015 posters available for download anywhere?
No, I can't do that, and they're not available anywhere. They're just there because because we don't own the property, and people would even ask us if we would sell them. We don't do that either, because we don't own the property, and at the same time, I would have to ask all of my creative partners if they would be okay with that, and I'm not sure if they would, just giving it out like that. So I should maybe give out like at least one for you guys, though. I have them in my office. I have 4 of them in my office on my wall, but yeah, maybe sometime I will. So the bokeh effect I got in Cinema 4D using Octane. So that's how I got that. You can get this effect in Photoshop. You want me to show you how to cheat it? It's not the same, not nearly the same, but you can get something similar. So what you do is you take your asset, and I'll hit Command, Option, Shift, and E. And you have to have CC 2015, like the most recent one, I think, to do this. And then I'll go and I'll make a new document. Let me just make like a small one, like a 1920 by 800. We'll do like a 2:3:5 aspect ratio. Command J, and I will grab, going back to my file, I'll hit V. I'll drag that file into here. And what I'm going to do is essentially I'm going to make it feel like this is a 3D object, or it's in a 3D space. So what I'm going to do is just kind of fake the perspective, make it feel like it's distorted ever so slightly. So skew, and I'm just doing the transform stuff here. So I'm making it look like I'm looking at it, and it's like a piece of paper if I rotate it a little bit. Then I'll drop this down a little bit here. And it's just a free transform. Let's see. Yes, and so grab this, squish this down, distort, and kind of like move this like that. So what I'm doing is I'm essentially kind of faking this plane in Photoshop. There's some, that's pretty good. And so what I'll do now is I will go and grab this. I'll go to filter, and there's a blur gallery. It's a new feature, which is really cool. And what you want is I think it's a field blur, but it could be tilt shift, but you can change it as you go through here. And what we have here is I can just find a focal point, adjust the amount, see if I want to. I need to find, let's see, blur gallery. I don't use it all that much, so just give me a sec here. Effects, bokeh, motion blur. I thought there was a way to change it in here. Let's see. Field blur. I know there's a way to find a focal spot and then let it kind of stay on there. If it doesn't work like that, then I hit cancel. I know there's a way. I'm sorry I'm not able to do it, but what I would do is to cheat it, I would go make a new layer, hit G for gradient. I'd grab this gradient tool right here, the one that's not the circular one, it's more tubular one. And then I'd go here, I would just fake grab the areas that I want to be out of focus and make them quite intense, like this. So like if let's analyze that other image, see how there's a really heavy fall off right here, and then it sharpens right here. This is all sharp, and then it falls off again. So just kind of recreating that shallow depth right here, making it like that. And so I will then hit Command and click on that layer, and I'll make that invisible. I'll go back to this layer. I'll go to Filter, Blur, Lens Blur. And this is a really good emulator inside Photoshop that it kind of creates a realistic or legitimate looking blur. Wow, it's taking forever. So let's just sit here while my computer thinks. Okay, so it gives us a little preview here, and what you can do is adjust the radius ever so slightly. So maybe I'll just kind of drag that up here. I'll hit OK. And let me just hit Command L and lift the layer so you can see what's happening here. But you can cheat it, so you don't necessarily have to have like some crazy octane machine and all that stuff. It helps because you can go in crazy and make all kinds of stuff, and it's real. But that's how you cheat it, and that's how I cheated it a long time when I didn't have a crazy, computer that had all this kind of special effects and all that kind of stuff too. So that's kind of how I would cheat it. I'd free transform it, make it feel like it's 3D. And a lot of times when I'm pitching the UI and stuff in films, I do this because it helps the director see like, okay, maybe I can project this onto a screen and take photos of it and stuff like that. So that's all in presentation and stuff. But yeah, so that's how I would do it. That makes sense? Take it, flatten it, transport it, or transform it, make a fake depth of focus using gradients, select that gradient, grab the layer, then add the effect on there. Boom, you're ready to go. Boomstick time. So, all right, yeah. Boomstick plugin. Yeah.
This next question is, how do you approach detail frequency in the composition?
Detail frequency in the composition. That's kind of that's such a feel thing, you know. It's like how do you dance? I don't know. Like depends on the song, and it also depends on that. I think it's more or less just, again, it all comes down to what we talked about last time, is being really clean and clear about your objectives, and making sure that you're being as clear as possible with what it is that you're communicating and how you're communicating that. So how much detail it needs. Remember last time we were talking about, say, like Juno, for example, like using Juno, the fly to Juno, and having those like tier systems of information. So in tier 1, if you weren't here last time, what we did is just, this is my really rough crap notes, I apologize. But in tier 1, if we're talking about like making a screen for NASA to help their flight navigators or whatever, or their, let's just say flight navigator, we're making a screen to communicate to them. What you're going to do is you're going to split your information into tiers. Basically, you're going to have like a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1 is going to be minimal on the frivolous detail. You're going to have only the most important, pertinent information. Almost like when you open up a page in a book and you're about to read a story, you don't want to have all this kind of stuff all over the place because you can get in the way of you consuming the information. Tier 2 would be like supporting of the tier 1, and then tier 3 would just be frivolous, like fancy stuff that just makes the image aesthetically appealing, or it's stuff that's like tertiary that doesn't, like, it's secondary tier kind of stuff too. So how I deal with detail, it's all like that, basically, just being able to kind of navigate those realms, and it all comes based on what it is that I'm making. But when I'm making like weird stuff like this, as I go through here, this is just kind of me playing around and having fun, making details, just splitting stuff up, shifting colors, and just having a lot of fun. So what I was doing before those questions was I was going to break down, kind of explain how I put them all together. So I'll make all my stuff in Adobe Illustrator, and then I'll bring everything over to Photoshop and grab all the assets and kind of start to put them in. I'll grab that one, put this over here, and I'll just slowly start to grab pieces, make masks of things, and slowly everything kind of comes together. And always in my files, I usually have like a hue of saturation or a curves or some kind of, I call them toppers. Like, these are the things that I put on top of everything, because without them, like, the composition's cool, but it really starts to come to life once you add in these extra layer effects and stuff. So then you have these really weird colors. If you go into here, you can see I've shifted the band, drop this down a little bit. You can shift and go through here, and this is one thing I love to do, because you can make a completely different element, how it works, by just shifting this hue saturation around. And then if you really want to start getting really complicated and doing weird stuff, is you hit Command Option Shift E. All the tricks and the things that I use are simplified, but it's about knowing when to do them and how, very quickly. And I'll grab that one, screen, and grab that here, drop this down, and then, like, I'll say here, I'll put the layers, I'll just adjust that to remove the blue from here. And maybe I just want to make like a mask of that detail, like right here. Make a selection. I'm like, that looks okay. And then just kind of like playing with it until it makes sense. I'm just breaking this thing. I'm not really doing a great job of explaining how I would do this, but let me see. What I'm trying to show you is emerging complexity. Basically, as things kind of develop, they continually get more complex if you want to. And they just kind of build up, and you have more and more layers, you know, so, and it just continually feeds and gets bigger and bigger and more complex. And so now I'm just taking that top layer and building and putting them onto here. And sometimes too, when I work on stuff, I will make something go, that's too much, and I'll remove certain things, go, okay, that looks better, and then I'll add a little thing here and there. And sometimes, you know, you got to push your boundaries as you're going through and trying new things, and then you're going to find like what's working and what isn't working, and just seeing, you know, how to capitalize on making the best image possible, and again, communicating what it is that you're after. So, but I don't know what kind of UI this would be. This was just me showing you the techniques. It has no meaning of any sort. It doesn't follow a narrative or a function. So.
Next question says, what's your favorite IP or IPs?
My favorite IP? Oh man, I don't know. You know, I think you guys all know I'm a huge fan of, say, Star Wars. Like, the original Star Wars is a big deal from my childhood. I really like the Alien stuff, obviously. I love all of Otomo's stuff. I love Neo Tokyo. I love Magnetic Rose is a huge inspiration to me. Cowboy Bebop is incredible. I love Cowboy Bebop. Well, most of it. There's some of it. It's like kind of like, what the hell? But I'm a huge Batman fan too. So I mean, just kind of a generic, you know, like I like them all kind of. But yeah, Alien, Ghost in the Shell, all that kind of stuff. I like them all. I don't have a favorite. I don't think there's a way for me to have a favorite, because they're all so different. I like that, and then I also love like Coen Brother films. I love Fargo and like No Country for Old Men, and you know, those are like films that I simply just, I love them. They're so good. Big Lebowski, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. See how much time we have. 6 more minutes, my lovers.
There's still about 8-9 questions.
Oh, snap. Okay, let's get through them.
Yeah, this one says, there's no way for me to afford Octane.
Okay.
or it's expensive software. Did you know any good and cheap renders?
Octane is actually really quite affordable in the spectrum of, like, let's say what it does in comparison to, say, V-Ray. V-Ray is a bit more expensive, I think. Um, I think there's Corona, right? Isn't Corona still? Are they offering it for like trial free base stuff? I think it was. No, can't remember. Yeah, I mean, it's like if you think about like Arnold too. Like Arnold is very expensive, I think a couple $1,000s or something like that. So, um, but yeah, I mean, in regards, I mean, you could also check out like Lightwave. I think has something too. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I use Octane. I think if you want to, I think there's one thing I've learned is if you want to start getting serious about what you're doing, you got to get serious tools and you got to be legitimate about like how you're using them. And I mean, dudes, there's this like the investment of having these two computers in my house. It's like huge, man. Like what's doing my electric bill. I had to have my electrician come out and run a separate line to my home office so that I can like I have a separate breaker, basically a 20 amp with like a designated line for these things because the GPU is freaking so power hungry, you know. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's really fucking crazy. But yeah, it's all you got to invest, you know. If you want to play with the big boys, you got to spend the big money. That's what I've realized, you know. So, yeah, it's just a part of it.
This next one says, "How do you get the bokeh? Is that how I pronounce it?
Yeah, I just went over that.
Clear?
Just went over that. Where have
Oh,
you
you
been?
can't. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't
Um,
know.
so the bokeh, really quickly for you personally, because you missed out, is in this shot I get the bokeh effect by taking my graphic, which is like this basically. I take the graphic and I project it on a flat plane, and then I light it or make it emit light, and then I just take a photo of it in Octane, and then I just go crazy and take a bunch of them and have a lot of fun. That's how I do that. And then in Photoshop, I explain how to do this. If you are subscribed to the channel, you can watch this right after. If not, then we post these up into our YouTube channel later on, like a couple weeks from now or something. So, but yeah, I showed you exactly how to do it in Photoshop. And again, to the person that said they can't afford Octane, you can cheat your way through a lot of things. You can be resourceful. If money is tight for you, I understand that. These are expensive tools. You can cheat your way through a lot of things, you know. But I'm telling you what, when you get a chance to and you can afford it, you're not gonna dread it. Honestly, you're gonna be like, well, you might dread a little bit, but the benefits you're gonna see are just gonna be huge, and your overall flow and output. So,
What aspect of the UI data design course did you not address or wish you did?
that's a great question. Thank you. That was like one of the first classes I ever taught. So there's so many things that I think that I could probably have improved on, but I think generally, I think I probably could have gotten more and deeper into Cinema 4D, but I'm still somewhat of a new user, even though I'm not. So I think getting more into Cinema 4D would have been really great for you guys, just to kind of like build a whole scene in Cinema 4D and even approach the idea of building things for animation. But my goal was to kind of get you guys aware of just how I think and how I work and how I've actually done and approached projects and art creative directed things and stuff too. So, yeah, but that's the thing that I wish I was able to do. So more cinema stuff probably because it's so powerful.
This one says, "Can we dive into how you start actually using these UI elements in the next step?
Yeah,
Bring into rendered images."
patience, my lover. You'll see it eventually. Yeah, and I'm gonna show that kind of how I bring all this stuff into either say After Effects or sometimes I'll just leave it here. I'll be done and I'll just kick this off to my teammates. But yeah, we'll get into some cinema stuff. I really want to show you guys some stuff that I'm doing. I'll probably just end up taking this. Maybe if I get some time today, I'll start playing with this and make some crazy stuff. And if you guys follow me on Instagram, it's just Ash Thorp. If you follow me on Instagram, that's usually where I post all this stuff. I just keep that channel just open for me to share like weird stuff that I'm doing. But we'll get into it. You just got to be patient. I promise. Okay, we got 5 more minutes.
This one, I think it was talking about something else earlier. It says, Does it work if you import the image as a plane in Cinema 4D or CD4? I'm sorry. So, yeah.
I don't know. I've never done that. Basically, the way that I do it, if I open up Cinema 4D, this is Cinema 16 R16 on my Mac. I think I'm using R16 on my PC. I can't remember. I think so. But let's see. Let's load. You can do it. So basically, what I do is I go into Photoshop and I go to Command Option I and I look at the size and it goes, well, this is a huge ass file. So usually it's not, usually like smaller, but I made this really large, I think because I was going to go and take a bunch of photos of it. So I grab this, I make the measurements. So if this is like, I'll go into Cinema, hit cancel, go back into Cinema. I go up to here to my geo and I grab a plane, grab that. And what I do is I'll go, like, let's say the file is 1920 by 1080. And I don't need segments because it doesn't matter. I don't need geo, so I'll just put 1 or whatever. And then I'll have this. This will be the plane, and I'll bring in a material. I'll throw it on there. So this will be like the material. I'll grab that, drag that in there. And then I just move around it, take photos of it, and go, oh, that's cool, move it around. And with the stuff with Octane, you can just literally, you guys will see. I'll share the PC maybe in a couple weeks. I think it still kind of can keep you guys in this realm, but yeah, Cinema 4D R17 is released. You're right. I don't know why I have it in R16. I don't really care, honestly. There's nothing that I think I'm missing. So, and if ignorance is bliss with that, I think too. So, but yeah. And that's it, and that's how I grab all these things and take photos and all that sexy hotness.
So this one says, what goes into your thought process for choosing colors?
Goes into my thought process for choosing colors. Again, it's kind of like, how do I dance? I think it's, to be completely honest, this is something that I've been having a hard time even trying to teach, is just color theory, and without getting super boring about it. I just kind of approach it in a very, I don't know, this is very difficult for me to say. It's hard because I make the thing as I go, and it makes sense as I go through it. And I'm just very cautious and aware of the things that I'm making, and trying not to make things too messy or messed up, or having a good balance. And I think a lot of it just comes from the time that I spent in this, and then also being able to shift it and play with it. And I use a lot of hue saturation and adjust the spectrum and to see what's important, and then also just being able to have the things that are important stand out when they need to be, and the things that aren't important, have them not stick out and stuff. So just kind of playing with it. That's a tough one though. I wish I had a right answer for you. I wish you'd say, I make the colors because of this. It's a real feel thing, and it's just like dancing or making love. Huh, John? Making love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think you already answered this one. I'm not sure, but it says, how are you getting the texture/grain effect on the fill in those pieces you were just showing?
Yes, and that's been a question that a lot of people were asking, so I thought that was interesting. Texture is so important, right? You need to have texture. This is how I do it, people. Okay, so this is how we do it.
That'll be the last question.
Okay, cool. So let's say I want to get that texture in here. If you look really closely in here, I've added some noise. So if you look closely at this imperfections, I love that, because imperfections to me is what makes really interesting art. And this is why I love to use the computer, is you have all these I guess in the computer it's supposed to be precise, which it is, in comparison to say traditional art, but you have these really interesting artifacts that kind of bounce around. You have all these things that are happening. One of the things, the way that I do it, let's just go out here, zoom. So let's go out here, and I will grab this. Let me just grab this thing, isolate it, bring it into this folder so you can see. Cancel. Just grab it and drag it over. this right here. Okay, so it looks like crap. Awesome. So go here and let's see. I'll zoom out, put it down here. This is something that I learned from Ollie Moss, who is awesome. He's a friend of mine, and he did this. Like he does this interesting dithering effect on his masks. And I think it was when he did this Batman poster, and it looks like wash or something. It's really cool. So you hit G for gradient and make a mask. Make a mask, and then I go to dissolve. Okay, when it's in dissolve, you hit G, and I'll set like a circular gradient, and I'll hit X. And you see what happens here is you have this really cool dithering effect. And if you take this and let's say Apple J, move this around here, and I'll go and change the color of it to, let's say, right here. And I'm doing a very quick example, guys. So, and you get this like interesting weird effect basically that happens, and it's like this noise effect. And if you do it like a boss right here, boom, then you have all this weird anomalies that are happening. So the lines aren't perfect, it feels abstract, and you have these interesting bits and pieces. And that comes from the Epoch series. I did a bunch of posters. Let me see, it's in my Behance. Ash Thorp Behance. I did a series of posters, like limited prints that I made quite a long time ago, and I saw the designs. I was like, I should go and revisit those and just take some photos of them, because this is what I wanted to do originally. Here it is right here, so you can see it's on my Behance page, or it's on my website too. But yeah, this is the original art for it. I made all this stuff in Illustrator, brought it into Photoshop, colorized it, and then eventually I went out and had them printed, and a bunch of really cool, awesome people bought it and they put it up in their house. So, sexy time. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. This was like, I was getting really into sacred geometry when Anthony Scott Burns and I were making the title sequence for Off. I made this weird star map thing, and it was a lot of fun. And it kind of supported the idea of making these abstract art pieces and stuff. So, yeah, a lot of fun. Get out of here, Mache, you troll.
Is he here?
Yeah, he is. Get troll face.
The party.
Damn troll.
Oh, we're wrapping it up.
Yeah, wrapping it up. That's a sick emoticon, whatever that thing is. But yeah, that's how I did those. A lot of people ask me about that, so it's cool. And I love, a lot of people I think were asking, like, how did you do it? See this, guys? Like, this is how you do it. You'd set it up. You'd go into this file. If I wanted to make that specifically, I would go and make something in Illustrator. But I would say, just for explanation's sake, go in here, grab this, and you make a quick shape. Okay, so I got that, bam, and then I make maybe I'll fill it in with like let me just grab a color, say red, hit X and then command delete. I fill that in, and then I'll make a mask. I'll invert the mask by hitting Command I, hit G, and then I'm set to dissolve, and then boom, you get this dithered effect. And depending on your resolution, see how it's like that far away. And if you go here, I expect to see some epic shit out of you guys teaching you these sweet skills. Simple tricks, right? Simple tricks, but it's simple things. So go Ollie Moss Batman poster. This is something I think he talked about it somewhere, and that's how I found it. I was like, what? How the hell did you do that effect? I have this poster in my house, actually. If you look at it closely, see how he did it. It's all these like straight things. And see this? So, yeah. And you can also, like, if you want to draw, so if you hit B, brush, go to your brushes, and pick like a soft brush like this. And I think if you set that to dissolve too, you get the same effect. And if you're using like a Cintiq or something like myself, you do this thing and you can kind of do a fade out and kind of build it up here, and you have this interesting dither effect, So it's cool. It's a cool way of drawing and creating things. You can 20 and kind of fade it out. So you can change and adjust the flow or the opacity, so you get fade out. So a lot of fun. Play with it. Mache, get out of here. I hate your face. No, I'm just joking. Are you doing a stream today, Mache?
Friday.
Friday? Okay, cool. Yeah, Mache and I are gonna start doing some stuff together. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Sharing art Sharons.
Sick.
Cool. Okay, it's 2:10, guys. I'm 10 minutes past what I said I would do, but it's because I love you guys and I want to share all my secrets with you, so you can go make epic work and go get paid by the big peeps. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that you guys learned a couple things. We covered some stuff I taught in my UI and data design class, just little bits and pieces. Again, if you're interested in this stuff, check out the classes, check out the school, learnsquare.com. I'm sure a lot of you guys are already students, and also we're bringing in a lot more teachers, and some new classes are on their way. Really excited about that. We've been really hard at work with this stuff and our new partners and stuff. So we have a lot of really cool, fun things in line. I'm excited about. Mostly, we're going to be taking nude photos of John. It's going to be great. And that's going to be for Genius class. It's going to be nude, just like waist down nude photography. Above the knee and below the belt line.
It is art. My body is art.
Yeah, it is. It's a vegan, like the art of vegan body, the vegan body art.
Oh, yeah.
So just like we're gonna take you, dump you in a cold pool, and pull you out, and boom, snap photos, high macro. So we'll do Hasselblad. It's gonna be great.
Why the cold pool?
Well, it's like we gotta show what the vegan body looks like.
Awesome. Right, let's do it.
Awesome.
That sounds good. Classes.
Awesome, guys. Thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you guys next week. I'm doing these every week as much as I can, and you guys have a good one, and see you guys next time.